The Super Soldier Serum is one of the most sought after and mysterious items within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. While it may seem pretty straightforward, you inject someone with the serum, they become super strong, but that's not really the case. In today's video, we'll take an in-depth look at what the Super Soldier Serum is and how impactful it's been to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole. While there have been various strength-enhancing projects within the MCU, such as Hyde's chemical formula, the CRISPR experiments performed on Luke Cage, the combat enhancers given to Will Simpson, the experiments Jessica Jones underwent, the heart-shaped herb of Wakanda, etc., we are focusing on the Super Soldier Serum that Steve Rogers was injected with and the attempts to recreate this serum, which none of the previously mentioned are, at least not in the MCU. So with that being said, let's begin. Prior to World War II, a German scientist named Abraham Erskine began working on what would eventually be called the Super Soldier Serum. Erskine's work caught the attention of a high-ranking German officer and head of science for Hydra, Johann Schmidt, who wanted to exploit the substance to make himself closer to the perfect man. Schmidt tested an imperfect version of the serum on himself, which in turn gave him a significant strength boost, but created horrible side effects. Johann became permanently disfigured and began going by the moniker of Red Skull. Eventually, Erskine fled Germany-controlled Europe for asylum in the United States. Erskine joined the U.S. Scientific Reserve, where he was able to continue his work as a part of Project Rebirth, which aimed to turn the U.S. Army into an army of super soldiers. The serum, with a combination of Vita-Rays, is used on a volunteer soldier who failed out of basic training, just a kid from Brooklyn named Steve Rogers. The procedure was a success, and Steve Rogers went on to become Captain America. Following Project Rebirth, 12 vials of Steve Rogers' blood were saved for later use, with one of these vials going to Howard Stark, who wanted to use the blood to cure various diseases and even the common cold. However, this vial eventually came into the hands of Peggy Carter, and not wanting anyone to use the final remains, or what she believed to be the final remains of Steve, for any nefarious purposes or monetary gain, she decided to let Steve go by pouring the blood into the water under the Brooklyn Bridge. Both the imperfect and the perfect versions of the serum grant the user a number of enhanced abilities, but the imperfect version burned off the face of Schmidt, while the perfect version had no tragic side effects, unless you consider the inability to get drunk a tragic side effect. The serum not just enhances the recipient's physical abilities, but their personality as well. As Dr. Erskine states, it enhances what is already within. So Schmidt's awful Nazi personality was amped up to an even more inhuman degree, while Steve's honorable core was enhanced to help him become the selfless Captain America. As for the physical enhancements, the serum is very well-rounded. Steve enjoys enhanced strength, durability, speed, reflexes, endurance, stamina, intelligence, and even his senses are enhanced. While Steve is no daredevil, his perception is far above any normal human. Additionally, the serum provides regenerative abilities as well. Immediately after Steve's incredible transformation, Dr. Erskine was killed. The last vial of the serum was stolen and destroyed, which left Captain America as the first and only recipient of the perfected Super Soldier Serum. So from here, you'd think that would be the end of that, but no. Both the Germans and the Americans were obsessed with the serum, wanting to finally recreate it and produce an army of super soldiers. During the Second World War, Dr. Arnim Zola was working on his own version of the Super Soldier Serum, which was injected into James Buchanan Barnes after he and the rest of the 107th Regiment were captured by Johann Schmidt's Hydra soldiers. After being rescued by his childhood friend, Steve Rogers, Bucky became part of Steve's Howling Commandos. During one of their missions, Bucky tragically fell a great distance, but survived due to the imperfect serum which he was injected with years prior. Following the Second World War, the entire world was fascinated with Captain America and the idea of super soldiers. The United States began working on a brand new version of the serum, which they tested on black soldiers within the US Army, killing many of those who underwent these experiments. However, one of these survivors, Isaiah Bradley, received a more perfect version than the other test subjects. Eventually, Bradley was sent in to eliminate the Winter Soldier during the Korean War. However, both survived the encounter, despite the fact that Isaiah got the better of Hydra's elite assassin. Eventually, the imperfect super soldiers created by the US military began feeling the side effects from the faulty serums they were given, and due to this, many began dying, and some were captured and held in a prisoner of war camp. Worried that the horrific and inhumane experiments they performed on these men would be uncovered, the Army decided to destroy the entire POW camp. However, Bradley went rogue and saved his fellow super soldiers before the camp could be destroyed. To punish Bradley for his actions, he was imprisoned for 30 years, and during that time, Hydra, hiding within the US government, as well as actual US government agents, would continue to experiment on him, taking his blood to try and create more super soldiers. Around this time, Russia was able to create their own version of the super soldier serum, possibly with the use of Bradley's blood. There was only one recipient of this serum, Alexei Shostakov, who went on to become a super soldier known as the Red Guardian, who would act as the antithesis to Captain America in the geopolitical conflict of the Cold War. Nearly 50 years later, Hydra learned that Howard Stark had developed his own version of the super soldier serum and dispatched Bucky, now known as the Winter Soldier, to assassinate Stark and retrieve the new formula. Stark's new formula was then injected into the most lethal death squad in the history of Hydra, who became even more powerful than the Winter Soldier himself, who in turn was stronger than Captain America. Well, at least his metal arm is. So Stark's formula may have actually been the real perfect formula, but there was a negative to his attempt as well. The Death Squad who received the formula were completely uncontrollable, so much so that they had to be put on ice, and Hydra opted to continue using the Winter Soldier to do their dirty work. However, Hydra wasn't finished with the Super Soldier Serum. After determining that Stark's serum was a failure, they recruited Wilfred Nagel to continue their efforts. 10 years later, and just 2 days after the tragic events of 9/11, General Thaddeus Ross was commissioned to rekindle Project Rebirth in order to create super soldiers for the United States Armed Forces. At the outset, Ross had been using captured terrorists to test the serum on, but pictures of the aftermath were leaked and the project was officially terminated. But unofficially, Ross continued his work and recruited world-renowned biochemist, nuclear physicist, and gamma radiation expert Bruce Banner to assist. Bruce decided to swap out the Vita radiation used in Captain America's procedure with gamma radiation, but after years of research, the US government lost interest in the project yet again and cut funding. Frustrated by these events, Bruce decided to test the serum on himself. However, the combination of the super soldier serum and the gamma radiation had unintended side effects, which transformed him into the Incredible Hulk. The powers of the gamma radiation version of the serum had aspects of each of the others. Unlike the original, it didn't enhance Bruce's personality, but created a new one. Like the Stark formula, this new personality was uncharacteristically aggressive and had far more strength than anything Captain America could muster. But similarly to the original, it granted enhanced physicals as well as regeneration, but the enhanced intelligence has yet to be seen, as Hulk is essentially a toddler in Ragnarok and then merged with Bruce in Endgame. During the years that Bruce Banner was on the run, General Thunderbolt Ross enlisted the help of Emil Blonsky, who was eventually injected with a small dose of a replicated variant of the Super Soldier Serum into his spine. Blonsky claimed that the serum didn't just return him to his youth, but made him far better than he ever was in his prime. But with his newfound abilities, he became extremely cocky, which resulted in gruesome injuries at the hands of the Hulk. But thanks to the serum, he recovered in less than a day. But Blonsky lusted for even more power than this version of the serum could provide, and convinced Samuel Stearns to inject him with the irradiated blood of Bruce Banner, which turned Blonsky into an abomination. While the US continued to create failed super soldiers, Hydra continued their efforts in secret, creating the Centipede Project. This may be a video for another day, but essentially the Centipede Project was a mixture of the super soldier serum, gamma radiation, the Extremis virus, and Chitauri tech meant to create super soldiers for Hydra. But following their destruction, the aforementioned William Nagel was recruited out of Hydra by the CIA to continue his work on the super soldier serum. But before he could complete the final synthesization of his serum, Thanos snapped, turning Nagel to dust and forcing the CIA to end the super soldier project yet again. However, after the Avengers were able to snap everyone back to reality, William Nagel fled to Madripoor, where he worked with former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Sharon Carter to resume his work on the super soldier serum. Eventually, Nagel succeeded in creating a new perfect super soldier serum, which was stolen by the Flag Smashers, who injected themselves with the serum. Eventually, the leader of the Flag Smashers, Karli Morgenthau, was attacked by Baron Zemo, who destroyed the remaining vials of the super soldier serum. But one survived, which was stolen by the new Captain America, John Walker, who injected himself with the serum, becoming the final super soldier, at least for now. And that's pretty much it for the super soldier serum. In recent years, we've learned a lot more about the history of the super soldier serum within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we may not be done yet. Let me know down in the comments which super soldier is your favorite, and which super soldiers from the comic books you'd like to see in the MCU in the future.